Alright, we should be live. Do my typical checks, and then we'll get rolling. I'm pretty much done with this character, but this is what I just was working on, so I'll move on to something else pretty soon here. Alright, I have the actual video pulled up this time, so that way I'll see your guys' live chat. I feel so bad about that, so Ricky's laughing in the background. If you guys weren't here last time, I just didn't talk for like an hour because I didn't see anyone else chatting, and you guys were chatting, I just couldn't see it because YouTube doesn't show it on my side. I have to watch my own video to see it. It's whatever. Alright, turn the music up in the background a little bit, and then we can get rolling. Hey, Terry's here. Hello. So got a session tonight, can't stay long. How's it going? It's going pretty good. I am doing the final steps for this model right now. Kind of like blended in some of the tree roots and stuff, and yeah, just Dynamesh, putting it back all together. Pretty happy with it. You're good. Ricky's assembling furniture in the background. Okay, cool. Got everything finally sorted out. The music is so funny. I always do audio checks before I start, obviously. But, the levels are all over the place. Like, I'm listening to my own video now, and, can barely hear it. Now it sounds really loud. Anyways, these axes is here. Hello. They look so good. I like the gradient work. Yeah, I'm a sucker for gradients. That's my thing. Alright, I'm turning music back down. It's too loud. Terry says hi. Hi, Terry. Alright, I'm happier with this. I'm finally gonna start working. We're like 5 minutes in, I'm gonna do something. Alright, cool. Back to my music instead of listening to myself talk. Not my favorite thing. Alright, some lo-fi on. This lo-fi is so sad sounding. Maybe I'll pick something else. There we go. I have this Animal Crossing mix of lo-fi that I've been listening to for like, I don't know, 2 months. Alright. Let's see. Christina asked, what tablet are you using? Not actually a tablet. It's why don't I ever know? A Microsoft Surface Book 2. Or Pro. 2. Pretty sure it's 2. Anyway, so it's a normal laptop. You take the screen off and you flip it around. You put it back on it and then you close it. So it's backwards. Here. I think you guys can see it. There we go. So yeah, see if I open it, there's my keyboard and it goes to a solid screen. See? Oop, I hit myself. It's backwards. It's kind of weird. So you can take off the screen and put it back on. Bam. I've never actually done like a demo of what that is. And I have my camera set up different this time, so I can actually show you guys. Saxus says, Mia, show us your references. We can judge you for no reason. Winky face. I actually did have a reference for this one, believe it or not. Oh no. Now this isn't going back. Flip upside down. There we go. I was like, oh no. Alright, cool. And then Terry says, I've got some brown alcohol ink that'd be neat to apply to the Treant. The cracks and crevices would be sweet for that. Yeah, since you mentioned that, I actually want to double check to make sure these are deep enough. Oh yeah, I see my screen got all weird too. It's upside down there too. Sorry. All right. I just want to do like a proper demo for once because a lot of people ask me what tablet I'm using. Yeah, Christina says, thanks, appreciate it. No problem. So I have been fighting with my wrist in a super mild case of tendonitis for a long time, as most of you guys know. So now I'm trying a new approach where I have it almost laid flat instead of like a 45-degree angle. Because like, I used to write essays in college for hours at a time. My wrist never hurt. And I had my hand all pinched on my pen. This is super loose. This is as tight as I go. And my wrist hurts all the time. It's super annoying. So we're going to try this instead. I have talked to a doctor about it, so no worry about that. I just can't get like an actual like, official diagnosis because I can't go in. But she didn't sound very concerned, which is good. I don't have like carpal tunnel that's gonna ruin my life or anything. Not yet, anyway. I'm being careful. Speaking of, let me set my timer for 20 minutes to make sure I don't overwork. Bam. But yes, any of my other aspiring artists out there, make sure you take care of your hands. They do a lot for you. And then just for kicks, the entire bottom of this I actually did with my left hand. So that was weird because I had to use, obviously, my left hand for my pen and then my right hand for my keyboard. It was actually harder to use my right hand on my keyboard and the other side of it than use my left hand to sculpt. But yeah, worst case scenario, I can just flip my hands. It's slower, but it's actually not as bad as I thought. And to be clear, my wrist doesn't even hurt that much. It's probably like a 3 out of 10. It's just like, it's a constant dull ache and it's super annoying more than anything. Like right now it feels fine, but it hurts after the fact, which is weird. What you gonna do? On to more interesting things. This tree is looking awesome. It's probably one of the most non-traditional interpretations I've done. I shared it in the Discord yesterday, which I think a lot of you guys already saw, and I'm really glad you guys liked it. I don't usually say stuff like, oh, hope you guys like it, unless I really mean it. I was very glad you guys liked it, because I do. I wasn't gonna change it necessarily if you guys hated it, but it's nice to be on the same page. I'm just going through here and adding some thickness to these back little branches here. And I have some really minor issues with the mesh right here, like this little bit of shattering right here. So I'll go with my inflate brush and Dynamesh again, and that should fix it. I go like this and close holes, that should help too. I did okay. There we go. Yeah, I love this character. I think it's beautiful. And that's why I'm so grateful to like have Patreon and stuff, because like I can do stuff like this. I don't have to worry about a client's opinion. I mean, I guess you guys are my client in a way, but not really. You guys are pretty cool. I'm actually doing a more proper treant for a client, and that's kind of what I based this on loosely. And that's partly why this one came out so unique, because I had just made a treant and I didn't want to do it again, and I was really worried about making them too similar. I don't want to piss off my client because he's potentially going to buy commercial rights to it, which is like super expensive because I'm super expensive. So I don't want to like charge him a bunch and then just make the same model. You know what I mean? It'd be not cool. This looks nothing like it, so I'm not too concerned. All right. Yeah. Well, this looks kick-ass, and there's not really a whole lot more for me to do. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to look at the original to make sure I didn't lose too many details. Whoops. And if I did, I'll just reproject my details back on. So this is the before, this is the after. Obviously, the before does look a little grittier in like a good way, but this isn't going to affect the print at all. From a distance, you actually cannot tell. The only differences you can tell are the improvements I made. I like it. Beautiful. All right, I am going to decimate this because it's currently at 3 million points, and that would be a huge file size. So go Z plugin, decimation master, and keep the polypaint, preprocess current. There we go. Excuse me. Zaxo says, I still want an entirely left-handed stream. I almost did that today, and then like I don't know. I just decided not to. I decided to try this new approach instead. Let's see. But I can see that being unrealistic because people pay for this. Christina says, ah, now I get it. Obviously, I'm new to your channel, blush, so you're using an external keyboard for the hotkey shortcuts. Yep, that was the problem I had when I tried to use my convertible laptop, right? So it's funny, so I have two keyboards. It's kind of silly. But it works. I mean, all considering, it's pretty nice to have such a small setup, because the first tablet I ever really used, like, professionally, starting last year, was, it's a Huon Canvas. No, it was not that. Oh man. Okay, whatever. It was a Huon. It was 16 pounds. It was this thick. Tablets have come a really long way in like the past like 6 months. I don't know what it was. They like all dropped to only like 2 pounds and they work better and it's just amazing. But yeah, it's annoying to have your keyboard, your laptop, or them attached or whatever, and then your tablet to the side. So I really like using the convertible laptops. The only issue is that I lose pressure sensitivity constantly. I don't really care, just because I don't do digital painting, you know, or drawing. I do sculpting, and I'm pretty heavy-handed with it. So I just vary my Z intensity and my brush stroke. It's also sensitive to speed, so the faster I go, the lighter the stroke is, so I kind of do it based on speed rather than pressure. And also, I'm just the kind of person where I've never pressed very hard on the screen, ever. I've never liked pressing hard on the screen. I'm always barely touching it, so it's a better feel for me. The tablet I had before that did have good pressure sensitivity, had like 8,000 levels or something. You had to carve into that thing to get it to like register darker colors, and it wasn't for me. Obviously, the screen didn't scratch or anything. It just felt weird. Like, I don't know. You just don't, I just like dragging and scratching the screen, so it felt weird. All right, let me go to. I'm gonna do 500,000 points. It'll be a bigger file just because I have so many little cracks and cool things, and I want this model to be printed like tall. So yes. Oh, and I never said like proper like welcome, Christina. You are new here. Usually, like whenever I recognize new names, I like introduce myself briefly. Sorry about that. It's the beginning of the stream, so I'm still getting into like the zone of it. All right, so I have decimated this. So let me go ahead and zoom in like on the face here. This is the before, this is the after, and then I can strip the wireframe and you can really see what this did. So this is pretty cool. This is the before, and what's happened is it's a very even coating. Not really super even, but like okay. See how like all these little squares and stuff? That's like what Dynamesh does. And then afterwards, much more spaced out. Because the way Decimation Master works is that it puts fewer polygons in areas of less detail, like this flat portion here, and then it will add more polygons and like all these cracks and stuff to maintain the detail. How it's able to determine which cracks and like raised or lowered portions to keep, I don't know, but it's a great job, and I love it. It's really cool. ZBrush is the coolest. I've never been much of a software person. I don't know how software works. I know very little programming. This month is the 1-year anniversary of me getting my mechanical engineering degree that I never end up professionally using. And yeah, I've forgotten a lot. I wouldn't trust myself to design a toaster, and that's just a short circuit. Alright, I'm going to lower this bottom portion a little bit because I'll probably sink that into whatever decorative base I make. Alright, that's pretty awesome. I'm going to go ahead and export this. I have a little folder going right now where I'm putting all of my temp files for the release on this Friday. Ooh, that's tomorrow, isn't it? I need to prepare. I need to finish these. I have the Centaur, Dryad, and Unicorn finish, and now this one. So I'll be able to release 4 tomorrow. So half of the set. That's pretty good. Okay, cool. I'm not as behind as I thought. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, no, we're good. I mean, I can always push back the release a few days. You guys don't seem to really be that picky. I'm picky. I'm crazy about being on time and stuff and not being late. Speaking of being late, I got my, 2 days ago, I got my horse his new shoes, or not new shoes, taking his shoes off and his shots for spring shots. The vet was 2 hours late. Didn't apologize, didn't call, and me being the person I am, I was like super polite and super nice still, because I just, I don't know how to be rude, or like, I was like firm, like when I called, I'm like, hey, it's been a half hour, is anyone coming out? I'm like, oh yeah, he's on his way. An hour later. At the same time, honestly, I don't care that he didn't apologize, because I'm like, don't apologize if you don't mean it, and believe me, this guy would not have meant it. But unfortunately, in the area I live, which I live in Fresno, There's like only 2 vets in the whole damn like area, it seems like, and one of them's not taking clients right now because she's all booked up. Her husband's actually the one who I used for my farrier, so I was really hoping I'd get her because her husband is super nice and good at what he does, so I figured that'd be cool. And plus, I think it's kind of cool to have if my farrier and vet were married. I just think that's kind of cool. All right, I'm just doing a little turn around here. I usually use these little pictures for my Instagram page. I mean, I haven't posted my Instagram page, I think, in over a week. I'm working on that. You know what? Here, let's do this a little bit better. This is kind of a hard model to frame. I really wanted to like pose her finger things, but I'm like, I think they look better like straight and stiff. Really accentuates the whole like, you know, tree branch thing. I have a tendency to make anything tree-like look more tentacle-like, and that was kind of a battle doing this as well. I kind of lost that battle a little bit in the back here. It's looking a little more tentacle-like. It's fine. Alright. Go ahead and export this for pictures I will probably never share, but I intend to. Very nice. And then I'll do one big one up close. Yesterday I went through and updated my Patreon page. So the banner is now like all my colored renders and stuff. So that's why I'm trying to do more. Well, I always paint my models, but I always forget to like take pictures of them. So I'm trying to do more of that. I don't usually show my or use my colored renders for advertising as much because for some reason I'm concerned that it makes it harder to see what the model is. But literally no one has ever complained about that. Probably because I don't paint details on it. I just put gradients on the whole thing, call it a day. So it's not like I'm painting on details that aren't sculpted there, so you might as well see the painted version. Alright, let me go ahead and save this. And then we'll move on. I don't know what I'm going to work on next. Probably the Wendigo. I might redo the moral I did, because it looks terrible. Alright. Let's see. I missed some chat. Terry says, those add-ons like Clute and Ballast and Sharing look really cool for ZBrush, right? I'm so behind on printing your models at the moment. It's not a problem. Christina says, I've been looking at the Canvas Pro 16. Yes, that I used to have. It's amazing. I'm just not sure I can justify the cost. I'm mainly a modeler in Blender and dipping my toes into sculpting. Dabbled in ZBrush years ago, but transferred it. Alright, let me look really quick to see how much the Canvas Pro 16 is now. Just because I just wanted it when I got it, and I don't know, oh, it's $500. It's not worth that. I really, really like it. It's just not worth that, though. The same way that I think, like, Wacoms or Wacoms, they're not worth it at all. Do not buy them. I'm looking at a 22-inch for $1,200. It's fucking ridiculous. I've never used one, so maybe it's like the Rolls Royce of tablets. I really doubt it. As you know, like the saying, it's like the tools don't make the craftsman, or a poor craftsman blames his tools. You know what I mean? Like, I could make a great sculpture with, like, a tablet this big. I've done it before when I was traveling. I didn't like it. But, yeah. Let me look at a different Huon that's a display tablet. I know they have older ones. I know you don't need me to do this, but now I'm just, like, shopping, and it's cool. And I'm sure they have a Canvas 13, I'm pretty sure. Alright, the Canvas Pro 16 on Amazon is $400, so it's $100 off. There we go. There's a Canvas Pro 12 for $270. One for $250. They're all the same. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting the big expensive one. Alright, let's see. Why did this get so dark? There we go. It's a little brighter. And then Terry linked my stuff. Thank you. And he's also heading out. Not a problem. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Zaxa says, when I look at physical models, the color one draws me to it, and I look at the unpainted one. I think I do the same with yours. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. That's why the last release I did with the Townsfolk collection, I did them like side by side. The left one being the pretty colored one, and the right one being the unpainted, just normal one. Alright. I'm gonna save this for like the 800th time. Like, chaotically save. I can't help myself. Alright. And then now let's open up the Wendigo. Wow, I got way more done on this than I remember. Cool. Also, the moral don't look that bad. Like, they don't look good, but I had to really exaggerate it to make sure it, like, prints okay. I could have done a better job with it. It's fine. I like these other little mushrooms I made. Alright, well, let's work on this. I really should work on the legs right now, but I don't want to. So I will work on the antlers instead. That looks more fun. I make them a little bit bigger and inflate them a tiny bit because they're already kind of fragile looking. I'll Dynamesh all of these pieces together. I'm also just going to solo it. I'm going to reduce my smooth brush a bunch and just like lightly smooth all over this. Always a good reminder, so whenever using the smooth brush, if you hold shift and start scribbling, like, yeah, it does a lot of smoothing, that's great, but I don't want to lose volume, I just want to blend everything. So if I hold shift and then let go of it but keep my pen down, it does smart smoothing. So see how it's not losing a lot of volume, but it's like blending the edges? It's really hard to tell in this example. Anyway, it's a thing that's happening and it is helpful. Alright, I'm going to go through here and inflate the bases of these a bit. God, these antlers came out really, really good. I'm worried about these back ones. These antlers are a little too thin to be like super easily 3D printed if this was small, but it is going to be a monster, so like something that I will do if I want to add thickness for 3D printed but don't want to lose how elegant it looks, I will just add thickness to everything on the same side. So what I mean was, instead of like going through with an inflate brush and like, here, that's not right. The inflate brush and doing this and making it look terrible, I'll just go to move back face mask and then just pull from behind it. See what I mean? If you do it to everything, I'm almost doubling how thick this is. But overall, it still looks pretty elegant. Obviously, it's not as thin and pretty as it was, but it still has that, you know, pointy antler look without just looking like tubes. With my work, I really, really walk that like tightrope of trying to keep it looking good, but also 3D printable, because not too bad. All right, those are looking pretty good and ready for some detail. Gonna re-Dynamesh the whole thing and then subdivide it. So I re-Dynamesh it to get it so all the deformations now have an even like polygon covering, and then I subdivide it so that way I have more polygons to add detail to. Alright, I'm gonna go damn standard and use my favorite alpha that I use for pretty much everything. And then I'm also gonna turn on lazy mouse. Increases the intensity a little bit so it actually shows up. And there we go. I can get some really cool patterns with this. It does a pretty good job overall. I'll go through with just damn standard with no alpha on it later to blend all the areas, but for the most part I can have this alpha do a lot of the work for me. Doing this sort of work I could do all day. I think it's so much fun. Super relaxing. There's really not a whole lot of steps in like creating a character that I actually don't like. It used to be posing, but honestly, I'm starting to find that really fun too. Now that I'm not such a big rush. Alright, my timer just went off for 20 minutes. So, take a quick break. Alright, that's some light texture on it now, and then I'll go through later and add some like really thick cracks in it and stuff. Before I take my break, I do want to clean up some of these lines really quick. Just because I'm starting to have that problem that I mentioned, where if the tips of these look too like round, it kind of takes away from the overall look. And at some point afterwards, I will go through with drag rectangle turned on, and I'll drag in like much bigger cracks, but I'll do that later. I might even do that way towards the end of the model. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with the legs. Alright. Timer is done. Christina says, currently using a cheap graphics tablet that I've had since the late 90s, showing my age. Thanks so much for giving your opinion. Yeah, of course, no problem. Zaxa says, to be fair, if they break off at the tips when printing, it's not entirely unrealistic. You are not wrong. That might actually make this look better. Now that you've mentioned that, I might take like and make them asymmetrical. Alright, Christina loves the tips. I'm glad. I'm very chatty. Well, like, as the live stream goes on, I get quieter and quieter because I get more focused usually. Zaxa says, from what I've seen, rigging and texturing are some of the hardest things, and you don't have to do that. Exactly. Rigging isn't so much difficult, it's just really time consuming because you don't always know how the program's going to interact with like properly weighting a model, so you have to just do a lot of it trial and error. Obviously, like, you know the general spots of like where to add bones and joints, and it's pretty similar to a skeleton overall. But again, the biggest issue is just having to see the way if it deforms properly. And that's all animation stuff. Zaxa says, well, texturing not so much now since you have so many textures to choose from that are Creative Commons. Also very true. And like proper texture work is so tricky because you don't want it to be too dense, like file size wise, I'm pretty sure, because that's all used for like game assets and that kind of stuff. You want it to be as like bare bones as possible. I'm very happy to not have to worry about animation or just game assets in general. It's a lot of less fun work. Alright, and the stretches I do are really basic. It's just stretching down, stretching up, you shake it out, and then you stretch out each one of your fingers. It's pretty much just the only option. This is what most artists do. Some of them do it where they'll like turn their hand upside down and put it against a wall and pull up their thumb. I don't do it because it's uncomfortable, but that works too. Trying to think what I would do for the legs here. I want to do like twisted vines and stuff, but I don't know if I'm gonna actually give it proper hooves or not. But I feel like giving it little spikes would look ridiculous too. If I was drawing this like 2D or just like traditional, I think it'd look really cute, but in this case, maybe not. I don't like making hooves. Hooves are really tricky. Christina says artist yoga. Totally. I was super into yoga when I was in high school and early college, but then college took up so much time that I didn't do anything other than just try to get through school. I'm so happy it's done. Let me look at some references for Wendigo. They all look way different than what I do because most of them are bipedal, which is also really cool, and most of them are a lot more monstrous too. Yeah, I gotta give it hooves, but I'm also super lazy. So I might just take the hooves off of my unicorn. Some things I don't mind doing over and over again. Like I sculpt pretty similar faces over and over again, but yeah, the hooves are not one of those things I enjoy. Hooves and hands and feet. Anything on the lower part of the model, I'm just like not crazy about. All right, got 20 more minutes on, and let's get some more work done. All right, since Zaxxon's even mentioned like someone's being broken, I think making this asymmetrical would be a really good idea. So I'll go in with mask lasso brush, and I'll just start taking some of these edges off. Go ahead and split those points off, and then I will hide them just in case I want to add them back later. And I'll close the holes. I'm gonna re-dynamesh this and then smooth out those new broken areas. And then I'll go through with Dam Standard and then add some cracks. Normally I wait to add asymmetrical details until the model is posed, but in this case, it's kind of nice. I can just do it whenever I want. Ooh, are you making coffee? Oh, maybe later. Alright, just about done adding these details. Making sure to actually rough up wherever the horn broke off. There we go. I like it. I'll probably go through at the end and add like really big cracks like this, but I'll wait to see like the way the model is posed. Based on like what like the quote unquote like alpha shot is of the model depends like how I add details and what I emphasize. Alright, this has all of the little horn pieces still attached, so I'll go through and then delete those now. I think that was all of them. So right now I'm using the inflate brush and going back and forth with Dynamesh to start to really build out the shape of what the legs are going to look like. I want them to be somewhat accurate, but at the same time I'm going for this really whimsical look. So as long as I follow this like general bone structure, I'm going to try not to get too accurate with it. I'm going to import the unicorn and take the hooves off of it. Oh, you know what? That won't work because it's not the same kind of hoof. I'm going to have to do this. Being so lazy about this. Because these are going to be cloven. They're not going to be... I mean, I could do whatever I want, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Reading through the chat because I didn't look over in a bit. Yeah, I'm lucky I don't have to deal with a whole lot of like storage, that kind of stuff. Everything's pretty dense. Oh yeah, you can get all of that wired up.
Yeah.
Sweet. It's a long cord. That looks so much better. Oh my goodness. We currently had our TV on 2 different dressers. They're not really dressers. They're like those little cubicle boxes that like kindergartners put their shoes in. That's not what they are, but that's what they look like. We had 2 of them that were different brands, which we didn't know. And so we put them side by side, but they weren't the same height. So we had coasters on one side, so that way the TV was level. We realized this was not the classiest setup, so we finally got an actual proper like little entertainment center today. It looks so much better. It's all like metal and glass. Very fancy, not particle board furniture. Sounds good. You know what? I'm going to import the unicorn anyway and just use those hooves as a base. It might save me time. So fancy. I freaking love this model. It is gorgeous. Alright. It did not rotate the way it was supposed to. There we go. And then unify. There we go. It already has weirdly long hooves just because I usually keep them long. That way, when I set it on a base, there's no gaps. So I'll trim that, and then I will take a hoof. Let's go with, I think the back one looks the best. Maybe this one. Alright, I have taken a hoof. Sometimes my attempts to get, like, save myself work ends up causing a bunch more work. We'll see which one this is. Alright, and then cloven hooves look more like this. I'll need to look at a reference, but this definitely saved me time, I think. It's not pretty, but I can see what it is going to resemble. All right, there is now a little hoof. It looks okay. It looks like little just like shoes tacked on. It looks so goofy. Once they're all blended, it'll make sense. Oh, there are new people here. Hello. Sorry. I have been... Oh, the screen is all weird and screwy. I should probably fix that, huh? You guys can't even see what I'm doing. Oh, I'm sorry. I am in the zone. I see. My screen looks great. Yours is not. Here, let me just unplug it and re-plug it in, and we'll see what happens. Okay, mine has refreshed. So on my side, it looks better. We'll see what happens with yours. It's funny that my webcam's totally fine, though. Ooh, it is fixed on your guys' side, too. Cool. Sorry about that. I mean, what I have to show is, it looks silly anyway. I don't know if you guys want to see it, so. Everyone says better. Yeah, sorry about that. I was very much so in the zone, making my very goofy little cloven foot. Alright, I have everything all fixed now. So I'm kind of going down this like path of making these like perfectly realistic legs instead of like really stylized. So I'm trying to figure out if that is the route that I want to go or not. Because obviously I know I can do this. But I don't know if I want to. I think it might be more interesting to have legs like this and then like little tendrils that like come out and spread out like vines. You know what I mean? I just feel like I'm making this too realistic by accident. I tend to do that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like little vine planter feet because I just made a literal like deer leg here. Like there's nothing fantasy about that. Which is it's fine to have like real components to what you're doing, but maybe not that realistic. Here, let me just reopen the file. I had to see it to know if I wasn't gonna like it. Usually I can imagine it, but yeah, we're gonna work with this. And instead, what I'm gonna do is something more interesting, because it'd be easy just to make it like an emaciated looking deer, you know what I mean? And I can do better than that. So instead, let me go here. Where is that brush I use constantly and will not dock? There we go. Yeah, this is gonna be more interesting. You know, it's funny. I was talking to Michael just the other day about that, and Valis, about like, I'd rather spend my time making something creative and interesting rather than perfectly rendering something. And here I am trying to like perfectly render a deer leg. Alright, let's make something interesting, shall we? I do think either one could have worked. But I've been trying to make more interesting design decisions recently. Not because I think my models are boring. I'm actually super happy with the way I design my monsters. But just because, I don't know, it sounds fun. I want to become more creative, you know? So this is like resembling correct anatomy. Alright, so what's really cool about the clay tubes brush here, curve tube, is I can modify it. This is the same way I blocked out the antlers too. There we go, so now it tapers for me. So then I can, with this, have these be like little feelers, because I can't imagine this creature being able to see, you know what I mean? It doesn't have eyeballs, it just has a skull for a head. So I think it'd be really cool if the way that it felt its way around was like with these little like feelers. I need to be careful not to make these too thin, but I really do want to make them like impossibly thin. In worst case scenario, I just wouldn't print, because this wouldn't cause the print to fail, and it wouldn't need supports either. It's going to be challenging to get this to look the way I want it to, because I'm still kind of like concepting, designing the idea in my head as I go. When this is posed, especially like having one arm like really reaching out with like these little like tendrils going forward, I think the design's gonna read, or what I'm trying to convey is gonna come across really clearly too. That's so weird. I like weird. I don't know if that approach would work super well at the back legs, which is funny, because if I just make it like that hoof, I just get rid of it and just redo it again. With this one, I might do, instead of reaching forward, more like spiraling down. And then that will be like more like a stability, you know, the whole purpose of legs, to stand on them, more of that. All right. Ben says, all right, got a question. I'm looking at getting a resin 3D printer, such as a Lego Saturn. Is there any other accessories you can recommend to get with it? Not really. I would say a hobby knife or something to pop prints off the build plate, because that can be kind of annoying. The ones they give you are just like these thick spatulas that you can't get under the print anyway. Other than that, probably some vats for IPA to rinse them. You'll want two. You'll have like one that you do your primary rinse. This one gets super, super dirty. And then the second vat that also has IPA in it, that's just like a nice like finishing rinse. It lets your IPA last a lot longer while getting your prints really clean still. So yeah, hobby knife, some vats for your IPA, a bunch of paper towels and gloves. That's about it. I recommend like a little like a dowel accessory. Here, I'm giving you a big old list. Let me just link you my equipment page because I'm pretty sure I have this kind of stuff on there. I haven't looked at my equipment page in a long time. But yeah, I'll link it in the chat. Bam. All right. Hey, Celia's here. What up? Ben says, also, how do you dispose of the resin-contained isopropyl alcohol? I have not found any resources on this. Yeah, don't drain it down the sink. That's about all I got for you. I'll cure it in the sun sometimes, or I'll just, like, throw it away in the trash. I know, it's kind of weird, but just don't put it down the sink, whatever you do. And then Zaxis says, I just think you're making things turn into vines again, like you mentioned, right? Michael says, can you wrap vines? Yes, I can. How do you wrap the vines around subtool? I'm going to try to do that now, so I'll get to you. Let's see. Ishpek says the feelers look like roots. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. Very foresty feel as a consequence. They almost reared like a mirrored set of antlers, too. Yeah, it does. Kind of looks like all kinds of cool things. Thank you, guys. I think it's making him look too short, though. So I'm going to like move them down and make them smaller, because he just looks stubby right now as a consequence. All right. Michael says pickle strainer is pretty helpful too. Yep. Michael says looks like Ricky beat you to it. I think that was about the link. I put the link. I feel like I should know what you're talking about, but I don't. Celia also suggests, why don't you make them tree stumps? I like the idea about that, but I think it's a little too literal. In order to make it look properly like a thick tree stump, it'd get rid of the elegantness of the legs. It's a very good idea though. Also, I want this to be like a scary thing that can like hunt things down and run fast. So I like the idea of like, if this were to be animated, like while it's running, these feelers and like roots are like shooting out and like digging to the ground very lightly as it's running. And tree stumps wouldn't do real well with that. But it's still a cool idea. Let's see. Ben says, got it. Very good. Saxon says, I've heard some people say Simple Green works for cleaning prints if IPA is hard to find. Yeah, I've heard like acetone will work then too. I had a bunch of acetone for taking nail polish off, and I never paint my nails, so I had a bunch of it. All right. Zaxxon says, I put my resin-tainted IPA in a bucket and leave it in the sun. It's safe to dump after that. There you go. Michael says, no worries. Very nice. All right. So my timer went off, so that means I am on a break. So let me get a... This looks stupid. Like, I like it, but, like, just the front feet done. This is a challenging design at the moment, and it's in its awkward phase. All right, I'm gonna leave this on the screen, and then that's a dumb lighting. Why is the lighting like that? What are you doing, ZBrush? Once I get a good lighting on this, I'm gonna take a little break and like walk around and stuff. Ben says, I mostly use Blender for base meshes and sculpting. I'm looking at getting ZBrush Core. Can you recommend ZBrush Core? Absolutely. ZBrush Core is what I started my career with, if you will. I bought that in August of last year. 2 years ago. Yeah. And it really jump-started everything that I am today, honestly. It's a fantastic program. It looks exactly like ZBrush. Literally. There's just some features that are grayed out. And the features that are grayed out are not going to affect you if you're designing for 3D printing. It's stuff like proper texture maps, topologies. You cannot import custom brushes, but you can make custom brushes. So, like, just make them yourself. It's not a huge deal. All right. Cool. That looks... Again, his feet look stupid, but they'll look better. All right. I'll be back in, like, 10 minutes or so. Wait, let me put up my little sign. Because I have a little sign. And like always, thank you guys for joining. It makes it really fun for me. Even if I don't pay attention sometimes and the screen's half black. Alright, there we go. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. All right, hello. I am back. Michael says, gotta run some errands real quick. Hopefully I'll catch the end. Probably. I'll probably live stream in a few hours or so. All right. I probably will not finish this today. I'll probably just get it a little more blocked out and then walk away from it because this like tendril foot thing I'm doing is gonna be hard to do well. So I wanted to have a couple days of like looking at it, you know? Ben says, hello and welcome back. Thank you. All right, so the number one complaint I have about the feet right now, obviously other than being unfinished, is that they are making him look short, and I don't want that. So let me pull these back to try and keep some of that height. All right, have that all merged together. So what I'll do is I'll mask this area here and just pull this straight down. I think it's really going to help too when I have a base on this that it's flowing into. You know what, I might actually even import that now. Which would be really unusual. I've actually never done this before. Usually the bases are kind of an afterthought, if I'm being honest. All right. So I'll probably design a custom base for this model because it's going to be larger. But just for now, I'll get something on here. Just because, yeah, there we go. See what I mean? Like, it's really going to integrate nicely into the base. And that's what I'm looking for. This is going to be a really nice display piece. There we go. Just a really quick painted base there. So I can kind of see what this is really going to look like in the final product here. Sounds good. Thank you, babe. I might start adding my bases earlier on because this is really helping me like visualize what this is going to look like finished. You know what? Yeah, I'm actually going to work on the base right now. I don't like these rocks I have on here. They're super outdated. So I'm going to remove these and then I'm going to add some new ones. I have some little rock towers. I think that'd be nice for this. There we go. That's a better texture. That'll paint a lot better too. That's looking so much better. It always makes me smile when I see like a character like I can see the end. It's always like a very specific moment. I can see what this is gonna look like finished, and yeah, it's gonna be freaking awesome. You know, I always have the hardest time with snake hook brush. It never quite works the way I want it to. I'll just go back to clay tubes. Ah, it's looking so cool. All right, I'm gonna start trying to get that like vine wrap look. Let's see how it goes. This is looking exactly how I hoped it would. I'll set my music stop playing. There we go. All right, this is coming along super nicely. I think I'm gonna stop working on it for today, even though I love working on this. This has been a ton of fun. Just because I want to come back with fresh eyes to make sure I'm not instilling anything that I actually am iffy about. As of right now, I think I love everything. But I guarantee I'll come back and be like, oh no, I hate it. Seo says, nice roots. Thank you. I'm so happy about this. It's models like this that, like, I don't know, just make me like extra super grateful to be able to do what I do every single day as a living. Like, this is awesome. I'm so happy with this. Okay, so next step, I'm going to be adding more little mushrooms and then probably some little danglies from his antlers, because who doesn't love little danglies? All right. I'll go ahead and save this. Yeah, ZBrush hasn't crashed me in a long time, which is nice. So most of my poly count is actually in the antlers here. So I'm going to decimate these now because these don't need to be that high. There we go. Probably poly count down by like 1,000,000. That's also a lot higher than it needs to be. Just checking for any like weird hollow areas in there that might need supports because I don't want to support it. So that's why I was making sure that all of it was flush and it looked pretty good. I could definitely improve the anatomy of the skull to make it a little more accurate, but I don't think that time spent is going to be worth it. I'd rather spend that time like making the roots even more detailed and maybe throwing in some extra vines up the legs. I love all these little mushrooms. These ones especially aren't really based on anything. It's kind of a mix of like 6 different mushrooms, but they came out really cute. ZBrush doesn't want to read my pen right now. Come on. Alright then. I mean, I'm about done working today. Just needs to last for like 10 more seconds. Alright. Alright, the light is going the wrong way. This looks kind of cool, but definitely not what I want. That's better. Cool. Very cool. Fantastic. All right. I think that's what we're going to call it for today. Been a few hours, I think. It's probably a good time to stop. So psyched about this. All right. So I'm going to live stream tomorrow again at 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. every Thursday, Friday. That's when you just know for sure. I will live stream at some point in the afternoon. But yeah, thanks guys for joining. This was super fun. As you can tell, I'm like still really giddy about this. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.